Have you ever wondered why inner peace feels so difficult to find, even when your life seems perfectly fine? Why do so many of us search for mental healing, self-healing, inner calm, and mental strength, only to discover that the louder the world becomes, the louder our own minds become too? Perhaps the greatest battle of your life isn't happening around you. Perhaps it's happening inside you. The loudest voice you'll ever hear isn't your boss. It isn't your family. It isn't the opinions of strangers. It's your own mind. It follows you everywhere, into your work, into your relationships, into the quiet moments that were supposed to bring peace. Even when everything around you becomes still, your thoughts refuse to stop moving. They replay conversations from years ago. They imagine futures that may never happen. They question decisions you've already made. Then they whisper something that sounds convincing. Just think a little longer, and you'll finally find the answer. But has that ever happened? Or has every answer simply created another question? This is the quiet trap of overthinking. It doesn't usually arrive all at once. It builds slowly. One worry becomes another. One regret leads to another memory. One what if turns into 10 more. Before long, your mind is carrying a weight your body was never meant to carry. Imagine wearing an invisible backpack. Every fear becomes another stone. Every disappointment adds another. Every unfinished conversation makes it heavier. Eventually, you stop noticing the weight because you've carried it for so long. You simply call it normal. But what if it isn't? What if the exhaustion you feel isn't because life is too difficult, but because your mind never gives itself permission to rest? More than 2,500 years ago, one man began asking that very question. Not how to become richer, not how to become more powerful, but how to become free from unnecessary suffering. That man was Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. His search wasn't about escaping the world. It was about understanding the mind. And what he discovered continues to offer hope to millions of people searching for inner peace, mindfulness, and a calmer way to live. Because sometimes, the greatest change doesn't begin by changing your circumstances. It begins by changing your relationship with your own thoughts. When people first hear about the Buddhist teachings, they often assume he discovered a way to stop thinking. But that's not what he taught. The mind was never meant to become empty. It was meant to become clear. According to the earliest Buddhist teachings, the Buddha spent years observing one simple question. Why does the human mind continue to suffer, even after getting everything it once believed would bring happiness? He saw that life is always changing. Success changes. Relationships change. Health changes. Youth changes. Even our happiest moments eventually fade. Yet the mind desperately wants everything to stay the same. And when reality refuses, suffering quietly appears. Think about the last time you finally solved a problem. How long did your peace last? A few hours? A few days? Then your mind found something new to worry about. Not because your life suddenly became worse, but because the mind had already started searching for the next uncertainty. The Buddha realized that overthinking isn't simply about having too many thoughts. It's about becoming attached to every thought as if it must be solved immediately. Imagine sitting beside a peaceful river. Leaves drift across the surface with the current. You notice them, but you don't chase them. You don't jump into the river trying to collect every leaf. Thoughts work the same way. Some deserve your attention. Most simply pass through. The problem begins when we believe every thought is important. Every fear becomes a prediction. Every memory becomes a prison. Every what if becomes another reason to lose the present moment. The Buddha offered a different path. Instead of asking, how do I stop thinking? Ask, what happens if I simply observe this thought without following it? That small change transforms everything. Because the moment you begin observing your thoughts instead of obeying them, your thoughts begin to lose their power over you. And perhaps that's the first real step toward inner peace, mental healing, and the quiet strength that has always existed within you. What makes this ancient teaching so remarkable is that it still speaks to the modern mind. Today, we wake up to notifications before we even get out of bed. Our attention is constantly pulled in different directions. We compare our lives with carefully edited images. We chase productivity. We fear falling behind. And when the world finally becomes quiet, our minds continue the conversation. Modern psychology has a name for this pattern. It's called rumination, the habit of repeatedly dwelling on the same thoughts without moving toward a solution. While reflection can help us learn, rumination often keeps us emotionally stuck. The Buddha recognized this pattern long before the language of modern psychology existed. He understood that the mind naturally creates thoughts, but suffering grows when we cling to those thoughts, replay them endlessly, or mistake them for reality. A thought is not always a fact. A feeling is not always a prediction. An emotion is not a permanent identity. Think of the sky after a storm. Dark clouds may cover everything for a while, but the sky itself hasn't disappeared. It was always there, quietly waiting behind the clouds. Your awareness is like that sky. Thoughts, fears, and emotions are the clouds. They come, they change, they pass. The more you try to fight every cloud, the more exhausted you become. But when you simply notice them without chasing them, something begins to shift. You realize that peace isn't created by controlling every thought. Peace begins when you stop believing that every thought deserves your attention. This is where mindfulness becomes practical, not mystical. The next time your mind starts racing, pause for just 1 minute. Take a slow breath. Notice the thought. Name it quietly. This is worry. This is fear. This is planning. Then let it be there without arguing with it. That single pause creates a space between you and your thoughts. And in that space, inner calm, mental strength, and genuine self-healing can begin to grow. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning with the same responsibilities, the same people, and the same world around you, but with a different relationship to your own mind. The challenges may still exist. The uncertainty may still be there. Yet something inside you has changed. You no longer feel the need to solve every problem before it happens. You no longer believe every fearful thought deserves your attention. You begin to understand that peace is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of awareness. This doesn't happen overnight. The Buddha never suggested that wisdom appears in a single moment. Like strengthening a muscle, the mind becomes calmer through gentle, consistent practice. One mindful breath, one moment of awareness, one decision not to follow another unnecessary thought. Day after day, these small choices begin to reshape the way you experience life. So here's a simple practice for the next 24 hours. Whenever you notice yourself overthinking, don't ask, "How do I make this thought disappear?" Instead, pause. Take one slow breath. Look around you. Notice something you can see, something you can hear, something you can feel. Then remind yourself, this is only a thought. I don't have to follow it. That single sentence won't remove every challenge from your life, but it may stop your mind from creating new ones. Perhaps that was the Buddha's greatest lesson. Freedom isn't found by controlling the world. It begins the moment you stop letting every passing thought control you. And maybe inner peace was never something you had to find. Maybe it has been quietly waiting beneath the noise of your own mind all along.